Prada S.p.A. is an Italian luxury fashion house, specializing in ready-to-wear leather and fashion accessories, shoes, luggage, perfumes, watches, etc. Founded in 1913 by Mario Prada. History. Founding the company was started in 1913 by Mario Prada and his brother Martino as a leather goods shop, Fratelli Prada, in Milan, Italy. Initially, the shop sold leather goods and imported English steamer trunks and handbags. Mario Prada did not believe that women should have a role in business, and so he prevented female family members from entering into his company. Ironically, Mario's son harbored no interest in the business, so it was his daughter Luisa Prada who took the helm of Prada as his successor, and ran it for almost 20 years. Her own daughter, Miuccia Prada, joined the company in 1970, eventually taking over for her mother in 1978. Miuccia began making waterproof backpacks out of pocon. She met Patrizio Bertolli in 1977, an Italian who had begun his own leather goods business at the age of 17, and he joined the company soon after. He advised Miuccia, and she followed the advice, on better decisions for the Prada company. It was his advice to discontinue importing English goods and to change the existing luggage development. Miuccia inherited the company in 1978, by which time sales were up to US $450,000. With Bertolli alongside her as business manager, Miuccia was allowed time to implement her creativity in the company's designs. She would go on to incorporate her ideas into the House of Prada that would change it. She released her first set of backpacks and totes in 1979. They were made out of a tough military-spec black nylon that her grandfather had used as coverings for steamer trunks. Initial success was not instant, as they were hard to sell due to the lack of advertising and high prices, but the lines would go on to become her first commercial hit. Next, Miuccia and Bertolli sought out wholesale accounts for the bags in upscale department stores and boutiques worldwide. In 1983, Prada opened a second boutique in the center of the Galleria Vittorio Emanuele in Milan's shopping heart, on the site of the previous historic London House Emporium run by Felice Bellini from 1870 to the 1960s, a reminiscent to the original shop, but with a sleek and modern contrast to it. The next big release was a nylon tote. That same year, the House of Prada began expansion across continental Europe by opening locations in prominent shopping districts within Florence, Paris, Madrid, and New York City. A shoe line was also released in 1984. In 1985, Miuccia released the classic Prada handbag that became an overnight sensation. Although practical and sturdy, its sleek lines and craftsmanship exuded an offhand aura of luxury that has become the Prada signature. In 1987, Miuccia and Bertolli married. Prada launched its women's ready-to-wear collection in 1989, and the designs came to be known for their dropped waistlines and narrow belts. Prada's popularity skyrocketed when the fashion world took notice of its clean lines, opulent fabrics, and basic colors. The logo for the label was not as obvious a design element as those on bags from other prominent luxury brands such as Louis Vuitton. It tried to market its lack of prestigious appeal, including the apparel, was its image of anti-status or reverse snobbery. 1990s Prada's originality made it one of the most influential fashion houses, and the brand became a premium status symbol in the 1990s. Sales were reported at $70 billion, or $31.7 million, in 1998. Patrizio Di Marco took charge of the growing business in the United States after working for the house in Asia. He was successful in having the Prada bags prominently displayed in department stores, so that they could become a hit with fashion editors. Prada's continued success was attributed to its working-class theme, which Ginia Bellafante at the New York Times Magazine proclaimed was becoming chic in the high-tech, IPO-driven early 1990s. Furthermore, now husband and wife, Chia and Bertolli led the Prada label on a cautious expansion, making products hard to come by. In 1992, the high-fashion brand Miu, named after Chia's nickname, launched. Miu catered to younger consumers, such as celebrities. By 1993, Prada was awarded the Council of Fashion Designers of America Award for accessories. Men's ready-to-wear collections were launched in the mid-1990s. By 1994, sales were at $210 million, with clothing sales accounting for 20%. Prada won another award from the CFDA. In 1995 as of Designer of the Year. 1996 witnessed the opening of the 18,000 feet squared Prada boutique in Manhattan, New York, the largest in the chain at the time. By now the House of Prada operated in 40 locations worldwide, 20 of which were in Japan. The company owned 8 factories and subcontracted work from 84 other manufacturers in Italy. Chia's Prada and Bertolli company were merged to create Prada BV. In 1996, the name, however, was later changed to Prada BV, and Patrizio Bertolli was named Chief Executive Officer of the Prada luxury company. In 1997, Prada posted revenue of $674 million. Another store in Milan opened that same year. According to the Wall Street Journal, Bertolli smashed the windows of the store a day before the opening, after he had become deeply unsatisfied with the setup. Prada also acquired shares in the Gucci Group, and later blamed Gucci for aping his wife's designs. In June 1998, Bertolli gained 9.5% interest at $260 million. Analysts began to speculate that he was attempting a takeover of the Gucci Group. The proposition seemed unlikely, however, because Prada was at the time still a small company and was in debt. Funding Universe states that, at the very least, Prada had a voice as one of Gucci's largest shareholders and would stand to profit tidily should anyone try to take over Gucci. However, Bertolli sold his shares to Moet Hennessy Louis Vuitton chairman Bernard Arnault in January 1998 for a profit of $140 million. Arnault was in fact attempting a takeover of Gucci. LVMH had been purchasing fashion companies for a while and already owned Dior, Givenchy, and other luxury brands. Gucci, however, managed to fend him off by selling a 45% stake to industrialist François Pinault for $3 billion. In 1998, the first Prada menswear boutique opened in Los Angeles. Prada was determined to hold a leading portfolio of luxury brands, like the Gucci Group and LVMH. Prada purchased 51% of Helmut Lang's company based in New York for $40 million in March 1999. Lang's company was worth about $100 million. Months later, Prada paid $105 million to have full control of Jil Sander AG, a German-based company with annual revenue of $100 million. The purchase gained Prada a foothold in Germany, and months later Jil Sander resigned as chairwoman of her namesake company. Church & Company, an English shoes maker, also came under the control of Prada, when Prada bought 83% of the company at $170 million. A joint venture between Prada and the Dorigo Group was also formed that year to produce Prada eyewear. In October 1999, Prada joined with LVMH and beat Gucci to buy a 51% stake in the Rome-based Fendi S.p.A. Prada's share of the purchase was worth $241.5 million out of the reported $520 million total paid by both Prada and LVMH. Prada took on debt to Fendi, as the latter company was not doing well financially. These acquisitions elevated Prada to the top of the luxury goods market in Europe. Revenue tripled from that of 1996 to $2 trillion. Despite her apparent success, the company was still in debt. 2000s. The company's merger and purchasing sprees slowed in the 2000s. However, the company signed a loose agreement with Asdin Alaya. Skincare products in unit doses were introduced in the United States, Japan and Europe in 2000. A 30-day supply of cleansing lotion was marketed at the retail price of $100. To help pay off debts of over $850 million, the company planned on listing 30% of the company on the Milan Stock Exchange in June 2001. However, the offering slowed down after a decline in spending on luxury goods in the United States and Japan. In 2001, under the pressure of his bankers, Bertolli sold all of Prada's 25.5% share in Fendi to LVMH. The sale raised only $295 million. By 2006, the Helmut Lang, Amy Fairclough, and Jill Sander labels were sold. Jill Sander was sold to the private equity firm Change Capital Partners, which was headed by Luc van der Velde, the chairman of Carrefour, while the Helmut Lang label is now owned by Japanese fashion company Link Theory. Prada is still recovering from the Fendi debt. More recently, a 45% stake of the Church & Company brand has been sold to Equinox. According to Fortune, Bertolli plans on increasing revenue of the company to $5 billion by 2010. Prada is the main buyer from the Turkish leather factory Disa, which was found guilty by the Turkish Supreme Court of illegally dismissing workers who joined a union. The Clean Clothes Campaign, a labor rights organization based in Europe, has called on Prada to ensure that freedom of association is respected at the factory. On January 30, 2013, Clean Clothes Campaign reported, trade union harassment continues at Prada supplier. On May 6, 2011, Hong Kong Stock Exchange was accused on approving Prada's IPO during Prada gender discrimination case, which Prada was ultimately to win. Female NGOs and the member of Hong Kong Legislative Council and lawmaker, Lee Chuk-yan, protested in front of Hong Kong Stock Exchange. In 2005, an installation was made miles away from the nearest city in Texas. The name of the art piece is titled Prada Marfa, and it resembles a Prada boutique. The purpose of this was for the shop to disintegrate into its surroundings. The brand was listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange to raise $2.14 billion, but failed to meet expectations reported by AAP on June 17, 2011 and Bloomberg. In 2015, Prada's turnover was €3,551.7 million, up 1% from 2014, while its gross operating profit fell 16.5% to €954.2 million. Businesses today. Runway shows. Previous Prada exclusives and openers who have gone on to success in the fashion world include models and actors Daria Werboe, Gemma Ward, Vanessa Akcenter, Suvi Koponen, Ali Stevens and Sasha Pivovarova, who went on to appear in Prada's ad campaigns for 6 consecutive seasons after opening the Prada Fall 2005 runway show. Prada's runway music is designed by Frederic Sanchez. Prada Boutiques. Prada has commissioned architects, most notably Rem Koolhaas and Herzog and de Meuron, to design flagship stores in various locations. A duplex megastore was opened in Kuala Lumpur at the Pavilion Kuala Lumpur in late 2008. Prada commissioned an unusual multi-purpose building called the Prada Transformer in Seoul, and 2009 saw the opening of a new store on Corso Venezia, Milan, designed by architect Robert Basiocchi, focusing on the Prada made-to-order collection. In June 2012, Prada returned to the Middle East with the opening of its largest boutique ever in Dubai's Mall of the Emirates. Watches. Production of watches started in 2007 and was suspended in 2012. One of first models, named Special Edition Prada watch, was produced in 1,000 pieces with number on the back. There are several models with Bluetooth technology. Famous model is named Prada the Link because it is linked or connected with cell phone that was made by Prada too. Wristwatches were manufactured by Nalone. Italian luxury watches company. Perfumes Prada for women, 2003. Tendra for women, 2006. Prada Amber Pour Homme for men, 2006. Then Joint for women, 2007. Infusion Dairies for women, 2007. Infusion Dom for men, 2008. L'Eau Ambre for women, 2009. Prada Amber Pour Homme Intense for men, 2011. Prada Candy for women, 2011. Since 2003, Prada perfumes belong to Puig Company. Identity counterfeit Prada products are common. They are, however, easily recognized if they are fake. The R in Prada should have a notch taken out of the right leg on a real item, but fakes rarely have this. LG Prada mobile phone. In May 2007, Prada began producing mobile phones with LG Electronics. 3 mobile phones resulted from this collaboration: LG Prada, LG Prada 2, and LG Prada 3.0. Prada discrimination lawsuit. On December 10, 2009, Rina Bovrisa filed a lawsuit against Prada Japan accusing them of discriminating against women in the workplace who were not young and attractive. Before the trial, Bovrisa took her claims to the media, gathering support amongst activist groups. After all the publicity, Prada countersued for defamation of character. In October 2012, Tokyo District Court Judge Reiko Morioka ruled in favor of Prada, saying their alleged discrimination was acceptable for a luxury fashion label. Bovrisa claimed the court was not fair and accused the judge of screaming at her. Bovrisa took her discrimination claims to the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights Committee on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights. The committee, without mentioning Bovrisa, did issue a report to the Japanese government urging them to enact regulations that would make sexual harassment in the workplace illegal. As of January 2014, the Prada countersuit is still pending. Investigation on tax evasion. As of 2014, update. Prada is being investigated by Italian prosecutors for possible tax evasion after the luxury goods company disclosed undeclared taxable income. Prada Spa chairman Miuccia Prada, chief executive officer Patricio Bertolli and accountant Marco Salamani have been named in the probe, which is for possible undeclared or false tax claims. The chairwoman of Prada is facing an investigation after it was alleged the company avoided nearly £400 million in tax by transferring services abroad. Italy's Corriere della Sera newspaper said on Friday Prada and Bertolli had paid €420 million to Italy's tax agency to settle their tax affairs. The paper also said the two were under investigation despite the settlement.